So now that we've finished reading the Green Ruth in the Green Book, I wanted to have us come together, just have like a book discussion and talk. And this is something that even as adults, last night I went to a book club and we had read a book together and then we had a discussion about it. So I'm going to ask some questions. Some of the questions are directly about the book that happened in the book, and some of the questions are going to make you really think about yourself, because remember our job was to make connections to ourselves and then making connections to the time period, okay? So while we're talking at Polaris, one way we show that we agree with each other is to do what? Yeah. I'm going to show you a couple other hand motions that you can do silently to just show if you're agreeing, disagreeing, maybe if you can't hear, or if you're thinking about something and you have something to share, okay? So if you disagree with someone, instead of doing this, we're just going to do this. So go ahead and show we disagree, okay? If you could not hear what the person said, you're just going to hold your ear, okay? That just shows that they can't, I need you to speak up, okay? If someone says something and you're like, I actually have a question about that, you're going to take your little finger and you're just going to make it a little question mark, kind of like, I'm questioning kind of something that you're saying, okay? All right. How the book discussion is going to work, I'm not going to call on anyone. I'm going to instead ask you, once you have shared your insight or your perspective, to then just call on someone else. The way that you will know that you have something to share is that you'll just have your thumb on your knee, okay? And I'll know to ask another question when we don't have any more thumbs on our knees, okay? So my first question really is, in what ways was this trip to Alabama for Ruth similar to Chicago and different than Chicago? In what ways was Alabama and this trip to Alabama different from Chicago and similar to Chicago? When you have some ideas, you just put a quiet thumb on your knee. In what ways was that trip to Alabama same as Chicago and different than Chicago? AJ, will you start us off?
From Alabama, they treated the black people different than how they did in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn.
I got a differences. In Chicago, there wasn't like really that much like that. Wasn't the girl named Ruby?
Ruth.
Ruth. Oh yeah, Ruth. She didn't really experience all that where she lived and stuff. But when she came to Alabama and stuff, she experienced like a whole bunch of it. Like she experienced like a whole bunch of it.
Something that something that was different was like Ruth, she had to she stopped at the Esso gas station and some man had to get them a thing of where you could go, but for us we didn't have to do that when we went to the gas station. Anisha.
In Alabama, they had a green book, and in Chicago, they didn't. Robert.
In Alabama, they had to use a book to find out a place that they had to go. And in Chicago, we didn't.
In Chicago, they can go anywhere they want, but in Birmingham, they have to go to certain places.
Great. Thank you. I lots of really great insight. We talked a little bit about Jim Crow laws, but I'm curious, what do you know about Jim Crow laws? Remember, you're showing that you're ready to share. Carrie, I'm going to have you start off since you ended, and then go keep the discussion going.
I know that Jim Crow laws is a thing where a person who made up it was for him to they used to watch a show and then they made a law about it because it was about black people who was uneducated and who wasn't smart. And I think they made laws about it. In Brooklyn.
What I know about Jim Crow laws is that I think the person who made the laws name was Jim. I think that's what I heard, and also that they are and what I also heard in the book was that Ruth had said that Ruth dad had said that the laws is made to keep blacks and whites separate or from keep them from not connecting with each other.
I have another question to jump in. What do you think about Ruth's family? What is the character trait you would use to describe Ruth's family and taking this driving trip from Chicago to Alabama? I mean, what are the character traits that you would use to describe? I see some questions here. What are the character traits that you would use to describe Ruth's family? For example, Ruth's family may have been scared. So how would you describe Ruth's family and then taking this trip to Alabama? Robert, will you start us off?
I'll first say, like, her family is like taking a trip to I would say, I think they taking it like they mad because they didn't get to go inside the hotel that was only meant for whites only.
I think they was like brave, anxious, and nervous.
Can I ask you to tell us why you think that they were brave?
I think that they were brave because like they was brave enough to like go keep traveling because when in the book it said when they had went to the dad friend's house that he used to know and they used to play instruments and stuff together. They had said the friend had said that be careful out there because it's a lot of racism or something like that. He said it's a lot of racism out there. And they had gave him he had gave them advice. So yeah, that's why I think they was brave enough to like continue their
trip.
Yeah, they trip.
Let's get one more voice, someone we have not heard from yet.
Avion.
I think they upset and confused because in Chicago they ain't have to do all this. They got to get a book to see where they can go and cannot go, and they upset because they have to drive all the way from right there to another place just to get to somewhere that they can go.
How have laws and people's opinion about race changed since the 1950s? How have laws and people's opinion changed since the 1950s? I'm gonna ask Anisha to start us off.
It like changed because like everybody's not as much people are racist, and like there's no Jim Crow laws because now that's illegal, and now everybody's like allowed to go wherever they want without a green book.
Go ahead, you can ask me. Yeah, I disagree. I don't know that black folks and brown folks can go wherever they want, whenever they want.
I kind of agree with Anisha what she said about how that the Jim Crow laws are illegal. What was the other part of the question?
And how people's opinions have changed.
Oh yeah, and I think that didn't change, but the people, what Anisha said, that it's not as many people that is racist, but that that people opinions, you can't change somebody's opinion. But if people like still like racist or whatever, you can't change their opinion. That's what they think. Talia. I think their opinion changed because back then they thought the blacks and browns didn't belong wherever the white people were, and they thought like their opinion was like they should leave because they don't belong here because of their skin color, so they got treated unfairly, and now they think they belong.
Let's get a couple more voices in.
Aaron. Adding on to Anisha, because at the time it was a lot of racism going on, but now it's still racism, but it's not as much.
Get one more voice in.
Okay.
I agree with Anisha, but not because you can go some places you can go anywhere you want, but some people are still racist, but not like with places they'll say rude things and like other stuff.
Great. Thank you so much for this discussion. So one of the things that I'm going to have you do now, so it's because not everyone's spoken. Remember, we talk about participation doesn't look the same for everybody. So we're going to have you go to your seats and just write a couple of sentences about how your life is different and similar to Ruth's. Okay? You're going to write just like 2 sentences. How is your life the same and different than Ruth's? Okay? Go ahead and go off.